Hello, I'm Dr. Park Minsu. Today, I'd like to talk to you about the topic of the best eating habit and exercise I wrote for the Health Digest, called The Best Eating Habit and Exercise to Stop Sarcopenia. The best eating habit and exercise to prevent muscular dystrophy. In a way, preventing muscle loss is one of the most important indicators we can use to improve our health. Our muscles reached their peak until we were in our 20s and 30s. Around 5 every decade before and after 40, and it rapidly decreases over the age of 60. People over 60, when they reach the average of 30 or 80s of their maximum muscle mass, they will lose up to half of the muscle that we gained when we were young. When you lose muscle, you start to see signs from your 60s to 70s. Falls, fractures, and according to my research, diabetes, stroke, myocardial infarction, vascular dementia, and even cancer. So in 2017, the World Health Organization gave sarco, which means muscle, and penia, which means tribal sarcopenia, which means myelopathy, a disease code that was officially recognized as a disease. Muscular dystrophy is inevitable with age, but the rate at which muscles fall rate varies depending on the person. If you look at our hospital now, people in their 70s or 90s come to our hospital, but they usually come in 3 forms. 1/3 of them can walk on their own 2 feet better than young people, and the other 1/3 uses a cane, so they lose muscle mass and their cardiopulmonary endurance decreases, and about 1/3 of them come with their families or wheelchairs. But if you look closely at them, their breathing rate is very high. Since your cardiopulmonary function is low, you need to breathe a lot to maintain your vitality, which puts more pressure on your heart and causes you to lose weight even though you're already underweight. I always say this: if you're in a situation where you can increase muscle mass, exercise well, and walk around freely, if you increase your muscle mass even a little bit, even if it starts to drop, if it starts to drop from the top, it will give you strength to endure. It means to maintain it as well as possible. I think it's very important to know the symptoms beforehand. Before, if you couldn't open canned food or bottle caps easily, or if your hands weren't as strong as before, you might have lost muscle mass. In a way, it's the best way to learn about it in everyday life. And even if you use your muscles or do the same type of exercise, it takes a long time to recover. It might indicate that you have myopathy. And when you're sitting on a chair or a sofa, and your legs open without you noticing, it can also be due to muscular diminishment. And although men and women differ, the fact that your legs are more noticeably open can also be a sign that the adductor muscles in your inner thighs are weaker. This is the best way to find out if you have withdrawal syndrome. Touch your thumb and index finger and measure the thickest part of your calf. If you have thicker calves than fingerling, and it doesn't close well, you have more muscle than others, and if it fits perfectly, it's average. But if you look at women in their 30s and 40s, especially middle-aged women in their 40s, you'll see that after menopause, their calf muscles have shrunk significantly, and their calves are thinner than fingerling, so they overlap completely. It's only when you suspect muscular dizziness. We need to stop sarcopenia now. If you look at all the different causes of sarcopenia, there can be a wrong posture. I always say that. A slouch, a forward slouch, that's a big problem. Even if we don't walk much in our daily life, it can cause a big problem. Then, there's the extreme picky eating, which I always tell you to eat evenly, such as protein or dietary deficiency. If you stay in the wrong position for too long, you should avoid it. In order to prevent muscular dysfunction, the most important thing is to eat protein regularly and to walk a lot. So I think walking is the best exercise. You need to walk a lot first. There's no better way to strengthen your entire body muscles than by walking. A person who walks for 1 to 2 hours a day can improve life expectancy, cancers, diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and body fat can be reduced, and muscle strength can be strengthened. A lot of people ask me how long it takes to walk. I think you can do 7,000 steps a day instead of 10,000 steps. So, in a study conducted by Harvard professor the Chang's team of women in their 70s, they surveyed the correlation between the number of steps they took and their health, and found that women who walked at least 4,400 steps a day for 4 years had a 40% less chance of dying prematurely than those who walked 2,700 steps a day, which significantly decreased after walking over 5,000 steps. That's why you can do 5,000 to 7,000 steps. Now, the most important thing when you do that is your walking posture. Because if you want to walk well for a long time, you need to protect your knee joints. There are two most important principles to protect your knee joints. You need to maintain the right weight. If you put too much weight on it, it will hurt your knee joints. Secondly, the way you walk is very important. When you walk, your heels touch the ground and the front of your feet touch the ground. But instead of coming from your heel to your pinky toe or to your big toe, you're evenly rolling like an egg, and I say, touch the heel and then next, and then do like this. You have to roll like an egg. When you look at the front, your knees should be facing forward. But it's not good if your knees are spread out or curved inward. When that happens, you need to tighten the muscles around your hips and stomach, so that your hips don't move back or your stomach bends too far. So, it's better to pull your belly button towards your spine. Clench your fist lightly, place your thumb on your second finger and walk. Make sure your elbows aren't too straight or folded, and keep your elbow at an angle of 80 to 90 degrees. Keep your eyes forward, and keep your head forward without lowering your head more than 10 to 15 degrees. Now, Dr. Park Minsu, what else can you do besides walk? It's good for the stairs. It's good for the lunge, and the lunge of the bipedal squat, because each leg moves independently. You can give functional movement to the right and left. It improves your balance. I think a squat would be really good. He spread his feet shoulder-width apart and sat several times until his thighs were level. The important thing is to get up. As if you were sitting in an invisible chair, you slowly bent down. You can try standing up again. It's better not to push yourself too hard from the start. As for the position of the squat, it leans forward to the knees. So YouTube shows the position of the squat well so that you don't strain your knee joints. Push-ups are very important. I believe that the upper body, especially the arms, forearms, and the front of the arms, should have a lot of muscle to reduce the pressure on the heart. I think you should do push-ups whenever you have time. If you can't do your own push-ups because your arms are weak, it's not a bad idea to start by cramming into walls and desks. You don't have to do it on the ground. Most importantly, riding a bike will be very helpful. Outdoor bicycles give you something to refresh on, and indoor bicycles give you something to be safe on. So, it's good to mix it up. All the musculature has to be supplied in order to build the muscles. We need enough amino acids in our body to build up not only muscle, but enzyme hormone antibodies as well and develop our body in a balanced manner. If you don't have enough amino acids, you'll keep taking proteins out of your muscles, so your muscle loss will only accelerate. You need to consume more than the recommended daily amount of protein. That's why I try to consume 1 egg a day, animal protein 3 days a week, and plant protein like soybeans and nuts whenever I have time. When eating proteins, you must be careful to consume the right carbohydrates, the right vegetables, and various foods, such as omega-3 fatty acids on a regular basis. It makes the pathway of the amino acids that go to your muscles busier. So if it's 60 kilograms, eat about 6 egg. Since other foods contain protein, you don't have to consume 6 egg. But we can consume up to 1.2 per kg of body weight, so try to consume enough protein to subtract it from your weight. Then how should Dr. Park eat it? When you eat protein, it goes up because there's a lot of fat in it. So there's a method that I always emphasize. Eat backwards: vegetables, meat, rice, so you eat the vegetables first, then the meat, then the rice, and then you change the order. That way, your insulin hormones will decrease. Insulin's work becomes more efficient, so it can absorb energy into your muscles. And there's another important factor that protects them. What is it? It's intestines and sleep. That's right. Probiotics and sleep. Don't forget to take care of your sleep. Probiotics are an important part of protecting and building muscle, particularly when probiotics meet fibers, and they break down the fibers to make what's called short-chain fatty acids that break down fat line carries certain signals from muscle cells. So this signal activates GLUT4 and brings energy to the muscles. So in a way, if you are properly ingesting probiotics, the probiotics that are made by meeting the fibers and eating a rich vegetable, if the microbiome is properly activated in the body, the portal of the muscles opens up and energy enters more easily. Sleeping is also very important for protecting your muscles. Growth hormone is the most important hormone for maintaining muscle tone. It comes out when you have a good night's sleep. When I tell them I must sleep for 7 hours, they ask me a lot. I don't think he has time to sleep for 7 hours. Of course, 5 hours of good sleep can be worse than 7 hours of bad quality sleep, but 5 hours of good sleep is no match for 7 hours of good sleep. Most people don't know if they're getting good or bad sleep just because they sleep for 5 hours. So I think it's best to let her rest for 7 hours. To do that, it's not just important to toss and turn for 10 hours, but to enhance the quality of her sleep. To do that, you need to sleep when you're sleepy, and staying awake during the day helps improve the quality of your sleep at night. Go to sleep only when you're sleepy, and if you don't fall asleep within 10 minutes, don't hesitate to set the rules to get up and do other things, and set the time to get up at the same time. Will help you get into a good sleep rhythm. Also, when you sleep, you need to completely eliminate the noise and lights, and to completely eliminate the blue lights from smartphones and TVs. It's better not to sleep with your smartphone by your bedside or with the TV on. We'll have to do more research, but recent studies have shown that within 7 hours, 6.5 to 7.5 hours is the best amount of sleep. So we should try to get more than 6.5 hours of sleep. The key to a good night's sleep is a healthy sleep-induced environment. You need a place to sleep that's low pollution and oxygen-rich. I always emphasize that breathing through your nose, exhaling through your mouth, inhaling through your nose. And if there's too much noise coming from outside, you should defend yourself appropriately. It's best to get an appropriate amount of sleep within 7 hours and wake up when the sun comes up in the morning. It's also best to set a time to fall asleep based on this. The best temperature for a good night's sleep is 22 to 24 degrees Celsius and humidity is 40 to 60%. Please adjust the temperature. So to recap, the best way to fight myiasis is to walk 7,000 steps. Get enough protein in your body to consume monounsaturated fats and refined carbohydrates on a regular basis, and to do that, you need to eat backwards vegetables, meat, and rice. Let's get 7 hours of deep sleep a day. Let's produce good lactic acid bacteria in our intestinal microbiome, and provide good fiber to make good monocle fatty acids. I hope you become subscribers who practice this and live with the muscles of your 30s and 40s until your 80s and 90s. Thank you.